各位资诚的朋友，大家好，我是资诚联合会计师事务所东南亚及印度业务服务张志源副总经理，泰国籍会计师，大家可以叫我的小名 NEW。欢迎收看本期的新南向焦点。根据最近的市场发展，发现 PCB 相关产业的供应链在布局上有很大的变动。泰国是 PCB 产业投资的主要目标国家，关键的因素包含兼容的环境法规、稳定的电力和水、技术人员资源，还有合理的制造成本。所以目前 PCB 产业有多往泰国投资的变动。本期邀请泰国 PCA 协会与我们分享泰国目前的 PCB 产业情况，也有泰国政府对 PCB 产业的支持。然后我们会分享泰国 PCB 产业投资关键的问题，还有我们自身提出的解决方案。接下来让我们欢迎泰国 PCA 协会 Mr. Swang Perkititanun。Good
afternoon, all the audience, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Swag on behalf of THPCA, Thailand Printed Circuit Association. Thank you very much for the Pricewaterhouse PwC Taiwan for this opportunity for us to share information and share our roadmap for Thailand Printed Circuit and electronic industry. So today we will basically briefly introduce THPCA, our main purpose, objective, vision, mission, our organization, the Thailand PCB supply chain structure, infrastructure, the overview. Then we will talk a little bit on the format of operation here in Thailand for this industry and the way forward. So about THPCA, we have started the activity in around 2017 and 18, which is in cooperation with World Electronic Circuit Council. We have finally established our association in 2019, so we are still a young association here in Thailand, although electronic industry here in Thailand has been established for the past few decades. So our vision and mission for our organization. So our vision is to participate and develop in development of Thailand PCB industry, to be part of strategic positioning in the global electronic device and supply chain. Our thinking and our emphasis are a few things. One is on the people, knowledge, and skill development. Secondly, on technology advancement and strong base for the research and development. And on the third is to develop a stronger, better, more efficient local supply chain and the cluster. So the next slide, it's on our milestone. So as you can see in our slide, so we established in 2019. We become an official WEC member in 2020. Of course, because of the COVID effect, so we have tried our best to proceed forward and in our few areas. In 2021-22, we have signed MOU with IPC for the roadmap for our people development and training development. So our members are our board member and founders of this association, consisting of the key players in both PCB and PCBA and also material supply in Thailand supply chain. Our key activities are a few areas. One is the cluster and business development, where we cooperate with our global network to share information, communication, and as well as supporting liaison on the newcomer into our industry here in Thailand. We do have a very strong advocate activity, government liaison with a few important bodies of the government, such as Board of Investment, industry department, and so on. Although our members are main mass production companies on the bigger size, we do emphasize to help development of the startup and SME development. We also carry out the market survey, industrial statistic and market survey. And the final area is on the people development and technical standard development. So next slide is on the overall supply chain of PCBA here. We do not have at the moment the manufacturing of wafer chip, but we do import wafer chip to be sliced and do packaging here. And then followed by the PCB and PCB and assembly. Next, we currently have 14 PCB companies and 120 PCBA companies here in Thailand. So of course, as you can see, PCB numbers of manufacturing here and the companies here are still in a small number. And we do see an important of PCB here in Thailand in the near future. With the government policy on the new S-curves in smart devices, connectivities like 5Gs, electric vehicles, and we do several activities to support these S-curves. And this is one of the consideration of the people who are coming here. Of course, the main purpose is for exporting as an exporting base. But also, we do think that you can also consider to be part of Thailand co-development in the new smart S-curve. Next is we would like to talk a little bit on the supply chain development gap and path forward. As you can see in the past slide that the number of PCB manufacturing here is still small compared to strategic area like China, where it's accountable for more than 80% of the global PCB manufacturing. This is result in weaker supply chain here, diversity, varieties, and the depth of the supply chain, such as the raw materials, special equipment. In the past 20 years, it's the players here has been able to get by, but in order to become more productive and effective, we need to further enhancing and go deeper to develop a local supply chain here to be able to reach a optimum level. On the other hand, important as we have already talking with our global network, people development is very important, especially as the printed circuit and circuit industry is getting smaller, more requirement. The labor cost is one thing, but again, the technology and the control of the process is become very important. And we here at THPCA do emphasize a lot on people development, and we would love for you to looking into Thailand industry to be part of this development. For the infrastructure support overview, we think that Thailand overall infrastructure is at good level. For the logistic and connecting road in Thailand is in Southeast Asia is rather good. On the utility side, as you can see here, we run quite major of our energy on natural gas at the moment, which is make it our electricity cost reasonable, competitive. On the stability of electricity is quite good, especially if you are in the industrial areas or industrial zone. On the water condition and water supply is quite good and reasonable costing level. Of course, we know that PCB do use large amount of water and also related to water treatment. We have actually companies, but this need to be discussed in detail. On the other area with recycling, as PCB do use a lot of water and also produce the waste which contain metals and some precious metals, we think that the recycling supply chains infrastructure is need to be further enhanced and cooperate together here. Finally, we have discussed and touched on the options for people, the companies looking to establish here between 100% owned manufacturing, 100% owned entity or a joint venture. As Thailand is in the international WTO, we have very diversified nationals, companies, multinational and different nationalities here being operating here for the past 40 years, 50 years. I think there's not always a right answer or the best format, but I can share our view on advantages and disadvantages of both. I think the people is a big key factors here. Secondly, it's the culture. We think that all cultures have their strengths and weaknesses. We also do have strengths and weaknesses. So for people who are looking to own 100%, of course, I think the advantage is be able to control the policy and direction much more effective. But on the other hand, with a joint venture here and the right partner, the people management and also the liaison with government and so on can be advantage, which is also refer back to what we discussed a bit early on with the new S-curve. Of course, we think that most of you will be looking 90% on exporting side, but I think local, domestic, and as well as Southeast Asia or Indo-China area have potential to grow in terms of electric vehicle connectivity, smart cities, and so on. So with a local partner joint venture, that could be an advantage. So I think in detail for joint venture or 100% owned, I think in detail, I think people like PwC should be able to provide you with all the detailed infrastructure in which we are not an expert. But what THPCA could do is to be able to screen and looking for the right partner for you if you're looking for a joint venture partner here in Thailand. You can see in our slide that we do we partake in several policy and policy roadmap with the government. We do have global liaison with all the key PCB companies and electronic associations worldwide. So in conclusion, do think that we have advantage both infrastructure and utilities and so on. The important is how do we cooperate on people and finding the right partner, or you want to be 100% owned manufacturing. And we hope that THPCA and new members in the PCB industry that coming in here that can be cooperate together in bringing the supply chain to an effective and optimum level together to be part of the global strategic positioning. Thank you. So we continue with a question and answer. There are listed questions. The first one is the investment perspective on PCB and PCB industry growth and trend in Thailand. So in this case, I think we all know that what are our strong positioning because PCB and PCBA have different segment and sub-segment. For example, smartphone or electronic in automotive electronic or the communication servers and so on. So we do see as well as home appliances. I think in Thailand, PCB related to automotive is one of our strengths. I think automotive supply chain in Thailand is one of the comprehensive supply chain for automotive in the world, especially in Southeast Asia. So as the car is moving toward a electronic devices or e-mobility, this could be a very good positioning with PCBA players coming in. Secondly, on area like smart cities, connected devices, communication, I think this is the area that Thailand could be one of the good positioning. And of course, home appliances is rather mass volume, but we also have a good basis for the home appliances and the white goods. So we do still see a good continuing of growth in PCB and PCBA industry, especially in those areas. Second question, asset and running costs for new PCB factory in Thailand. I think in terms of the setting up costs, I think in Southeast Asia, we should be on average at par with several countries. On the labor costs and the manpower costs, I think we are reasonable compared to different supply chain around Asia, except of course Korea and Japan. So I think as we all know that PCB and PCBA today is based on a lot of automation. So I think the level of people and people skill is very important to make sure that the running cost is effective, especially with yield defects and also opportunity and time cost. On the final question is the further suggestion for PCB investment in Thailand. There's a few areas I have mentioned previously on joint venture. There's no definite best options. I think we need to look at both advantages and disadvantages, but this is for sure related to, for joint venture related, one advantage is related to the culture difference, as we have seen here. I think, as mentioned, all culture have strengths and weaknesses. I think for you to understand the culture here could be one of the important factor to make more a better productivity overall and human resources. So finally, if you need further support or further discussion on one-on-one, and we are more than welcome to discuss with you anytime. Thank you.
泰国 PCA 协会的分享，让我们有初步了解泰国 PCB 产业的投资环境，包含泰国政府有哪些资源可以协助 PCB 产业。接下来，我们会跟各位分享很关键的议题，在泰国环评的主要法规，还有在泰国市场是否要提供环评报告。在泰国有一个很重要的单位，叫 Ministry of National Resource and Environment（MNRE）。MNRE 是负责泰国环评的政策，包含相关法规。在1992年 ，MNRE 有提出基本的法规规格，针对环评的部分，包含有些的污染的问题，也有建筑物的相关规格。针对环评报告上面，我们有分3个种类。第一种类 Environmental Impact Assessment（EIA）。EIA 里面有包含35个产业的分别，也有一些建筑物大型的规格。第二种类 Environmental Health Impact Assessment（EHIA）。在 EHIA 里面的12个种类分别， 比较偏向大污染的产业。这个部分呢，就是要提出更细节的环评报告。最后一个 Initial Environmental Examination IEE 部分只有针对在画面各位看到这两个产业必要提出 IEE 报告。虽然在 EIA 上面的法规35个种类没有包含或者必要让 PCB 厂提出 IEA 报告，不过蛮多客户或者我们的台商比较碰到的问题会在27个分类。在27的分类，他们有针对建筑物的大型规格。如果你的大楼高层有超过23公尺，或者单层的总面积有超过1万平方公尺，这两个部分还是必要提出 IEA 报告。在我们的制程关键或者要提醒各位，第一个，如果要进出泰国设厂，必要看清楚针对你们的产业包含建筑物的部分是否要提出哪一种类的环评报告。第二部分，评估设厂地点应该也要注意环评法规，包含使用水电天然气的部分。每一个工业元素可能有不同的规格，不同的需求，这个部分也提醒各位要注意。再来最后一个 IEA 报告可能会要使用申请建筑物的执照，包含可以提出 IEA 报告，必要是那个公司有跟 IEA 做登记，这个部分也会影响到各位要设厂或者要开始营运的时程要安排得很好。我们自身有针对台商的 PCB 工厂要往泰国投资，有提出解决方案。从各位大陆的台商要移转到东南亚，可能会有碰到一些调整的问题，税务上面或者基金安排。这个部分呢，我们也会从大陆调整进到东南亚提出解决方案。各位在画面可以看到，泰国有这么多的工业元素，我们应该要怎么样评估地点设厂的部分要在哪里？我们自身有不动产服务的专业团队，可以协助各位评估厂房地点，包含使用水电、土地的成本，加上有需要做一个法令的调查，也是有整套的服务可以协助。再来，有找到了很好的地点，应该要看怎么样可以购买好的土地的方式，包含有一些资金流动要怎么样安排，从海外公司、母公司要汇入到泰国。进到新的国家，各位应该也要看有没有可以搭配政府的资源，包含一些税收优惠。这个部分我们自身南线团队也有蛮多的经验，可以协助各位来评估看看，进到泰国有哪些税收优惠可以申请到。要买了一个土地，法规上面还有蛮多的流程，在土地过户上面也要注意，或者合约的部分要怎么样写。这个部分呢，也会影响到我们规划注册公司上面什么时候要先注册公司吗？还是呢，你可以先买土地，再有一个公司。这个相关的规划就是一整套的解决方案。最后一个，我们不是单独看泰国而已，我们自身的联盟所包含我们自身这边台湾的团队，也会有一整套解决集团整合的方式，从税务上面、管理方面、ERP 系统，包含 ESG 的考量，这才是整套的解决方案，可以协助我们的台商 PCB 相关产业进驻到泰国投资。以上是本期对于台湾 PCB 产业扩大泰国投资的相关分享。资深新南向服务团队是一群有当地服务经验的专业顾问组成，提供在地化服务，欢迎大家 上知城官网取得更多资讯。谢谢大家。